Hey guys, it's Cameron here with Emerson House Buyers. Every week I bring you tools, tactics, strategies, lessons I've learned, things that have helped me build up a sizable rental portfolio in about 2 years. You guys have to bear with me this week. In Houston, I had my house flooded, so I'm trying to do an improv on these videos and make them here in my mom and dad's old house. This is one of my old room. You like the fish wallpaper? It's stylish, but all that aside, it brings up the point I want to talk about. We had a huge devastation in Houston. We had some hurricanes or tropical storms or whatever they were in in Florida, Puerto Rico. We've had some in Louisiana. Just talking about risk and what maybe the strategy would be for these houses if you've had a flooded home. So, first things first, how do you mitigate your risk if you buy a coastal property? So first of all, you don't have to buy flood insurance, but usually it's worth it. I mean, more often than not, the higher risk you are to pay flood insurance, then the more you're going to pay. The lower risk you are, the less you're going to pay. So when these catastrophic events happen, this 1,000-year floodplain is broken, or whatever 800-year floodplain in Houston that was broken, and you're only paying $500 a year to have your home covered by flood insurance, and that's up to $250,000. You know, it makes sense. Really, the extra $40 a month, really does make sense. So think about it in terms of risk. Can you deal with it if you can't get it? I mean, if you can't get rent, if you can't live without your house or a property that you have, can you live without it? If you can, maybe the insurance is a necessity. Majority of the time, your bank will actually require you to get certain insurance. So I bought a property in August in Athens, Ohio, and it was actually in the floodplain. And they said you have to have regular insurance and you have to have flood insurance. That was something that I wasn't prepared for. Didn't really know that we had a floodplain over here, and had to factor that into my offer and take that back to the seller and say, hey, I didn't know about this. We have to come down a little bit on the price. But it's something that some people will require. If you're starting out and you're using a lot of leverage, they'll make you get it. So it's a good idea to have in case things go south, as we've seen over the past few months or several weeks. So that's one thing. The other piece is, so now that your catastrophes happened, what can you do, or what should you do? One other way to prevent your entire portfolio from being wiped out is diversify inside of a city or in other cities. Now, if you're just starting out, please take this with a grain of salt, because when you're starting out, get your niche and do a few deals. I'm talking when you have 10, 15, 20 properties and then 50, 100, 200, 300 units. Then you'll start wanting to diversify a little bit. Until that time comes, it's really unnecessary. If you have 2 or 3 homes, I mean, to me, it doesn't make much sense to spend a bunch of time trying to diversify and look over here and look over there. But see, since I had properties in Athens and I had several in Houston, I was able to diversify myself. Luckily, I didn't have any homes that were flooded besides the one I was living in, which I rented, thankfully. I was able to diversify myself a little bit. Same for people in Florida. You have a couple properties elsewhere. You can mitigate your risk of a huge hurricane or something coming in and totally wiping out your portfolio. Having said that, what can you do once it's happened? So, or what is your strategy going forward? For some of you guys and gals out there who want to buy or are looking to buy, and you're thinking, man, there's a great deal on a flooded home, great deal on a flooded home, great deal on a flooded home. Wholesalers are sending you all sorts of deals, flooded, but just in Harvey. So I am not an expert on flooded houses. What I would suggest is, if that's a niche that you want to get into, you go find somebody that's bought and fixed up and sold a bunch of flooded homes. Speak with them. Flooded homes go down in value between 5 and 15%, sometimes as high as 20%, depending upon where you're at. The higher price homes above 300,000, they can see a significant cut back. Some of the lower income homes won't see much of an impact, but you'll still see some. So what I'm getting at is, if you want to get into flooded homes, my advice would be not to buy them. I've seen plenty of great deals on flooded houses. There's plenty of other real estate out there that hasn't flooded. For me, it's not my wheelhouse. Again, I've spoken out on several other videos. Go back and look at them. Find a niche. Look at what other people are doing, what you want to get into. Find somebody, model them. Do exactly what they're doing. Stay in that. When people get in trouble because they think that they've had success doing this, that they'll have success doing that. They're buying houses and flipping is totally different than renting. It's totally different than property management. It's totally different than owner financing. And that can vary by state. So whether you're in Ohio, the laws are different than in Texas, the tenant laws. When to serve a 3-day notice, evictions, all that stuff varies by state. So to back up and come full circle around, mitigate your risk by buying insurance. If you can live without it, if you're okay, if the house floods or burns to the ground or whatever, fine. Most insurance or most mortgage companies are going to make you have insurance. So that might take care of it for a lot of you starting out to leverage, to grow your portfolio where you want to be, then pay it down, or however your strategy is. Diversify if you have several houses among other cities. That's nothing new. Strategies to now take advantage of all these flooded homes on the market. Don't buy into something you don't know. If you've never bought a flooded home before, my advice is not to do it. Partner with somebody who has. Start following around people. If that's going to be your niche, you can be the flooded house guy or gal. That would be it. That would be what I would get into. But if you don't want to make it your niche, I would be cautious. Even the taglines, just flooded in Harvey. A Harvey, do you think Harvey is the only one that's going to happen? The only hurricane? Doubt it. The one that's severe? I highly doubt it. There'll be another one. And you don't want to be caught overextended, over-leveraged without the proper protection. So my strategy for the flooded houses is don't buy them. That's any advice I can give to you guys. I hope that was helpful. It's not complicated, and it's simple, but sometimes the simplest thing's hard to do. People want to make things more complicated. Buy insurance, diversify yourself. If you've had a home that was flooded, call a great maybe investor or somebody who's dealt with them before. Don't go out to some person who's new. And for investors out there, don't go and buy a house that's new, put something under contract, and then get the homeowner in a situation where they think they have money coming, but you can't fulfill on your duties on the contract because you're not familiar with this. You don't know what repairs cost. Like I said, the drop in home values can be significant, between 5 and 20%, usually 5 to 15, but can be high as 20. Hope that was helpful, guys. If it was, let me know. If it wasn't, let me know. Always great to hear from you guys. If you liked the video, share it with somebody. If you didn't, let me know what I can do better. I'm here to serve you guys and help out the best I can. Thanks, guys. See you next week.